Hello and welcome back to Two Fans Talk B-Ball. Today's podcast is going to be about recent summer league performances. Much surprising are from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Surprisingly, they have somewhat of a talent from what I can see. First player that I want to talk about is Jordan McRae. Recently, he put up plus 30 points game. He put up 2 games that he scored more than 30 points, and what he showed to me that he is a capable scorer. He has somewhat of a defensive potential. He's 25, so he's not that young. So he should be in a position that he gets a chance. I mean, I think the Cavs have already signed him, but there's much to being signed and actually getting minutes because you might get this contract, which will not be much money, but if you don't get minutes, there's no reason for another team to give you a chance. So yeah, this dude is 6'6". He has a 7 foot wingspan, great size for that position, the shooting guard position. He can shoot it somewhat, but yeah, much about him is his ability to create. So that's big. That's good for any team to get. Um, right now, what happened is that the Cleveland Cavaliers have two players playing that position. They got JR, which is much likely to start. They got Iman Shumpert, which is not like a player that is locked to play a shooting guard position. His role is more of a playing defense and much about guarding the opposite team's best point guard, which every team now in the NBA have a really good point guard, so that's gonna be his job. Kyrie is not gonna guard any point guard. He can try, but he's not gonna be successful in it. So this dude Iman is gonna play the other team's point guard and defend. So I'm not sure how Jordan is going to get minutes. I just hope he can get minutes because you just see a player like him putting that much work and just trying that hard and being successful in it. So you just think to yourself, what's more for a player to do than put up that great numbers and play that good and not get minutes. I mean, I know there's more than that to get minutes, which that should be all there is, but still there's more to it. Um, there's more like fit with the team, personality, and other kind of interests that the team have. But still, I just hope he gets minutes. He showed up, he can play, and that's what I want to see: players that can play. Um, Other player that I want to mention is Kai or K Felder. He's a 5'9" point guard. He has a 6'2" wingspan, so his basketball height is like 6 foot. What I mean about basketball height is a measurement of your wingspan and your height because it doesn't matter if you're 5'9", but if you have like an 8 foot wingspan, it just means you can reach higher. So it doesn't mean anything that you're small because you can reach higher. Of course, he doesn't have an 8 foot wingspan, but he has a wingspan that's more than his height. That's good, but he still plays at 6 foot. Like I said, his basketball height is 6 foot. That's still undersized, but there's much to this league and basketball in general than having great size. Having great size is great, but if you can't keep up with your player, you can't keep up with them, then you're not going to be able to use any kind of size that you have. And having a player like him, I see that he's really quick. Like Jordan, he can create his shot. I mean, he's really quick, not just quick, like quick, really quick, quicker than most players you're going to see play him or be on the court at the same time. So he's really quick. He's really fast. He's somewhat, yeah, he has some athleticism. These kind of players, that are small, like Shane Larkin or whatever. They can go up. I mean, not like a posterizer players, but they're not like players that can barely jump. They can jump, and that's what makes them fast and quick and all that stuff, being athletic. So that's good. He has, I suppose, some kind of defensive potential, not being somewhat of a lockdown defender, just a player that can keep up with his with the player that he guards, like whatever guard, because he's quick, he can keep up with him. So that's good because the Cleveland Cavaliers, they got rid of Matthew Dellavedova, which was their backup point guard, and he was there to defend when Kyrie can't defend. And they played both him and Kyrie. I don't think that's like a real scenario where they play both him and Kyrie. I mean, even if he gets to the team eventually and gets minutes, but still, think about him as a player that somewhat can play defense, I suppose. And like Jordan, he played good. So yeah, you need a point guard. You got rid of your backup point guard. Why not try him? I mean, you can try him for you know some time and maybe get rid of him if you want to. But yeah, he's a player I like to see. He's not 25 years or old like Jordan. He's 23, I think. So he's young. I think he should get his opportunity. And the Cavs is a good place to be. The Cavs, they need good young players. Players that can produce more than their salary. That's what they need because they're paying a lot of money. They got rid of Mozgov. They got rid of Delhi. They got Mike Dunleavy. He's a good player because he's 6'9" and he's a knockdown shooter. That's good for any team. That's a good team. That's a good fit for any team. But he's not a defensive player, but that's a good fit, I suppose. That's what I wanted to say. And I just hope these two players get an opportunity. And yeah, that's it. And going to yeah, more about summer league. Jalen Brown struggled a bit with his shot. He just used what he can. I think he just slashed to the rim, showed he can get to the rim, and I think he got more calls than he should have gotten. But yeah, he's a prospect. I don't think he's a player that can contribute immediately. I mean, he could, I suppose, but yeah, not like a player like I guess what which player can contribute immediately. Um, I guess like Chris Dunn, maybe. Um, I don't even think Ben Simmons will be that good on at the start because yeah, from what I saw, I talked about it. I think in my last video, but no, just still. Yeah, these are players that play good. Like I said, Jalen Brown was I think his mindset was to show up what he can do and not what his weaknesses are. And yeah, these two players I think should get opportunity and more about that in the regular season. Going to see what they can do. Going to the Dwight Howard thing, Dwight, his story is playing 8 seasons with the Orlando Magic. He was a big dominant player. He still is, but he was slowed down by injuries and, of course, age. Um, he was really successful with the Orlando Magic because the structure of that team, the mindset was to have a player like him that gets the ball inside, and when the other team just have to double team him, he just tosses it out to great shooters like Ido Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis, whatever players that can knock it down. So now you have a problem defensively. So that was successful. That got them to the finals. That got him to be an all star, which he is not right now. And being like a young player like him, gaining all that fame, all that recognition, yeah, all that recognition, all that money, and getting to a big stage like the NBA Finals, the All Star Weekend, you're happy with it. But I guess it got to a point where Dwight realized that he can't and won't get to that stage anymore, and he won't win a chip with the Orlando Magic. That's what when he got unhappy because yeah, I'm not gonna get there. And players nowadays they get measured by how many rings they have. And if you're a great player, that's good for you. You're a great player, but you're not gonna get your legacy would not be as prestige or luxurious or whatever word you want to use to describe it. It won't be as players that got a ring. So everybody knows that. So any kind of player that thinks about his career like that, and he is good like that, should think about getting to that position like. And that's just natural. Being that career, you want to get all that you can. You want to get to the apex of that career, like in any kind of career. You want to be the best. I think um, that's an ambition that some people have. I guess not all people, but that's what happened to him. He realized he won't be able to do that with Orlando Magic. So a place like Los Angeles, a big market team, and players like Kobe Bryant, Paul Gasol, they told him, "Yo, Dwight, you're gonna come up with us. We're winners. We went to the finals. We know what we did. We're champions, and we just need you to you're our piece to get back to there, and we're gonna teach you how to be a winner. We're gonna do this and that, and promise them, things that you know, are real. I suppose they are legitimate. I mean, they have Pau Gasol, Kobe Bryant. Having him with these kind of players, that's a real opportunity to go all the way. That was not like offers that were delusional. That was real offers that they told him and promises. So he went there, and like Shaq, he collided with a personality that is different than him, a personality that is demanding, that were things that he wasn't used to, and people started criticizing him. And former players like Shaq that said, especially Shaq was loud about him, saying Dwight is can jump higher than me, he's faster than me, he has such great physical tools, he's dominant, strong, whatever. He just said this dude, Dwight Howard, there's no excuse for him to average less than 20 and 15. I think that, and for him to live up to his potential, he needs to play like that, and he didn't. Because I guess there's much reasons for it. Like I said, injuries, back, whatever. And the thing with Dwight is that he wasn't even in Orlando. He wasn't that much of a great low post scorer. He had some kind of what the thing with him and a player like Shaq. Let's just talk about Dwight in that sense. You can relate, compare it to Shaq, a player like Dwight that is strong, athletic. He can really get inside and manhandle players and dunk on them, and do whatever he wants, like a big inside, a big amongst bigs. So a player like him just gets the ball, he locks you out, locks you down in the post, in the paint, and he just the things that he does. He just his go-to move from what I can tell, is a drop step, just lowering his shoulder, big as has his big shoulder into you, just clear the defender out and just dunk it. And whatever moves that he had wasn't that effective. He didn't have any kind of jump shot, did not develop any kind of soft touch. I guess from what I can tell, no, not much of a counter move. He did had a lot of quickness um, to use in his post ups, but still the thing with him that I like I said, no soft touch, wasn't that technical in the low post, and he never could have resorted to a jump shot. So that what it was, and he really lost the ball. He was a really turnover machine whenever he got the ball. But in Orlando, it fit because he could have. It was hard to bring a double team on it with such great shooters there, and a lot of shooters, just spacing the floor, playing uh, 4-1. That's how it is, playing four shooters and outside, and you have like a player like Dwight. That worked out until they got to the finals, and that's what Stan Van Gundy wanted to do, and he was successful, like I said, until the finals, and they didn't win anything. They didn't win the championship, and I guess Stan, he just recreates that situation with Andre Drummond in Detroit, but I think Detroit is a better team than Orlando, so we'll see what happened there. Not as much as a great shooting team like Orlando. So maybe you'd think that's maybe a reason that they're not as successful as they should be, and still Drummond is not as like a good postal player than White. So that could be a reason, but still, maybe you need a really good shooting team in order for that fit, that 4-on-1 thing to work out. You need great shooters for to surround Dre with. But still went to the Lakers. That didn't work out. He got criticized. He said in his recent press conference, which he decided to leave the Houston Rockets, that he became a shell of himself. More on that is deciding to leave the Lakers because they didn't went as far as they could, and all that stuff just was bad for him. He said, "I need to change up. Let's think what I can do." He said, let's look for a team that has that potential to go deep, not as deep as other teams, like whatever team, just a good team that has a chance to go there, a team that is young, a team that, like I said, a team that is good because they have good talent. And let's just change up, and always being in a place like Texas where they don't have like taxes, IRS, I suppose. So I'm gonna get more money. So yeah, he decided that he's gonna take his talents to the Houston Rockets, and how that didn't work out is somewhat weird. Um, because on paper they were a really great team, a really nice point guard, not just like a prototypical point guard these days. Because he doesn't look to score the ball. He's more of a defensive player. Uh, he improved shooter. Trevor Ariza is a two-way player. You got players like James Harden, of course, which doesn't play defense until he has to. That's a problem. That's a thing to work out. But what happened is that a player like Dwight wasn't involved in the offense as much as he should have been, as much as he wanted. He became unhappy because of that. And just think about that thing that if you play basketball, you ended up in a team that you had good players or bad players or whatever players that just don't involve you, don't pass you the ball. You end up not playing offense. You just end up playing defense. You just watch other players, play, and what you do is just like a big. As much more about a big that just stands under the rim, and just goes from one side of the baseline to the other side, from the box, just moving in the box, not doing anything. A player like him just ending up playing defense and trying to get in. He just needs to grab rebounds and play defense, so he doesn't get involved in the offense. And what happens is when you don't get involved and just end up watching players on the offensive side. You A player like Dwight, he doesn't protect the rim and doesn't grab boards and just doesn't do anything as he should because he's unhappy. So that what happened, and he decided to go to the Hawks. He just said, "I'm going to leave any kind of dream or whatever thing I had about going to the championship, I'm gonna leave that out. That dream is dead. I'm gonna go back to the Hawks, to my hometown. I'm gonna hope I'm gonna be happy about it. I'm gonna get that money, like I need to, and just hopefully, getting back to his happy personality that he had, and just ending his career there. I suppose I'm not sure how many years he got left. I think he's like maybe 30. I don't know, but still, he's kind of somewhat. He's downhill. He's not nearly. You can never know with him because yeah, he was in a situation where he wasn't happy, but still, I think it's somewhat clear that he's not in his peak, of course, and he's going downhill. I just hope he will be happy. More about a thing that I want to talk about is with the Cleveland Cavaliers and how they lost a player like Mozgov, which was their last big player. He was 7'1". He was mobile. He was somewhat athletic. He was a really good player as a big. It's kind of a it's kind of a big deal to have a player like him because it's hard to find a player this big and this tall that can be this mobile and do the things that he could have done that he did. I mean, I suppose when he was getting minutes actually. So they lost him. So now the Cavs are really small and they are pretty much they're good because even in the regular season they won't have to go up against really good bigs or any kind of bigs because the Eastern Conference don't have good bigs. So Eastern Conference teams would usually play small ball like Indiana. Indiana could, I guess, play Paul George at the four because, like I said, no bigs in the Eastern Conference. But that's as far as going to the East Finals. But in the finals, that's a problem. But another team that is not big, they lost Andrew Bogut, and they signed the rookie center, but still is the Golden State Warriors, and they're small as well, and that's a problem for them because a scenario that is very real is a team that got Pau Gasol, the San Antonio Spurs. They got Pau Gasol, LaMarcus Aldridge. Both players can play are really good bigs, and just imagine a scenario that when the Golden State matches up with the Spurs and Golden State doesn't go further because they just can't match up with these kind of bigs. They just can't. That's a problem in both sides because a team that big would have, I guess, some kind of a problem with a team that is smaller, that is faster. Um, Aldridge and Pau Gasol can stretch the floor, not knockdown shooters, but I suppose capable shooters. So it's just a thing to look out for how these teams gonna handle each other because of size, size in the paint and play style, I guess. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I just want to call out the NBA teams for everybody knows that Golden State now is the favorite to winning it all, and it's going to be hard for any team to even try to achieve what they Golden State can achieve because on paper Golden State is the favorite, and nobody argues that. I'm a fan of teams that play good regardless of how talented they are on paper, and I just calling out teams to play hard like Boston. They're not so good on paper. They don't have big time players like Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and all that stuff. They got Horford, which is good for them, but still, they're not a team that's going to go deep in the playoffs. I just hope they're going to be in the playoff. I think they will. There's no reason for them to not because they play really hard. So I like teams like that, and I'm just calling out teams that don't necessarily have talent, not to shut it down like teams like the Sixers, and just play hard and Just try to fight and give a fight to teams like Golden State, the Cavs, and yeah, I just want that to happen, and of course a team like the Knicks that got talent that actually has some kind of potential on paper. I just want them to actually get to the playoffs. Um, they got players that if are healthy can I think they could produce big time. Derrick Rose, uh, Kristaps Porzingis, he could be big. You never know. I mean, he's young. I mean, yeah, you got Melo. Melo gonna drop 20. That's like on a given night. That's good. That's like certain. Joakim Noah is gonna play defense, be good on defensive rotations, put the hand up, rebound. He's a really good center to have. Not much like Hassan Whiteside, which is great weak side defender, but he's somewhat lazy on defensive rotation. He's not giving 100%. Player like Noah would be, I suppose, better on that kind of assignments. Um, but yeah, I just want them to get to the playoffs and teams um, giving a fight to the Cavs, especially in the East, because all you got in the East is the Cavs. So I just want teams to step up, especially the Knicks in Boston and Boston, because that's all you got. I'm certain Boston will step up, but the Knicks, you never know. What you got in the West is, you got the teams like Golden State, of course. You got the Spurs, like I mentioned, and Oklahoma City. Don't sleep on Oklahoma City, but because they still got Westbrook. I mean, they might not have Westbrook. They might trade him because he might leave like Durant left, and no team wants their best player to leave for nothing, so they might trade him. But still, as for now, they still got players in the team that can do something in the West, and whatever they can go, they can play, and they're still a team to fear. So that's another team. That's three teams. A team like the Clippers. The Clippers. This year they have some sort of a pass. They got an excuse because both of their free two of their free players got injured, best players, CP and Blake. So they sort of have a pass, an excuse to why they had such a miserable post run, but still. So and yeah, their problem was the free. So they brought players like Paul Pierce, Luke Mute. They got, and their final piece, I suppose, was Jeff Green. Very very athletic, free that can slash. He can shoot. But the year before this year, they were pretty bad. I mean, they were bad. That year was a bust. This year is a bust, but they have an excuse. So I talked about three good teams in the West. That's another good team on paper, which is a dark horse, I suppose. You can never know what's going to happen with them. They're just like a team that's like on the brink of just breaking down everything and rebuilding because they're just not successful like they should be, and maybe that just doesn't work out. And I think this season will might be their last attempt to do anything. I think before they start trading everybody, just saying let's just try again. Because they were really underachieving. So let's just see the Clippers. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna bring next year, and I hope teams because it's like the Bulls play where they had Jordan and Pippen and Rodman and these players, and in that team they were locked to get to the championship, and they did. So the thing is, the notion is that nobody can compete with Golden State, and I just want teams, to go in the court and play as hard as they can, and I just hope to have a great season, and as well as a great postseason, and let's just see what's gonna happen, and that's all I got for you guys. I'm gonna see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed, and that's all I got. Goodbye.